So you sent over this really interesting piece from ariaexport all about something called Kalute dates.
Yeah, I thought it was worth a look.
Definitely. So think of this as our quick way to get smart about these things. Our mission really is just to pull out the key stuff from this source.
Right. What they are, where they're from, the nutrition.
Exactly. Nutrition, benefits, maybe any downsides, and, how they stack up against other dates we might know. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. Always interesting to look closer at, well, at food.
Okay, first things first. What are Kalute dates? Can you sort of paint a picture for us?
Sure. So basically, think of them as falling somewhere between moist and semi-moist. They're from Iran.
Okay.
And they have this, like, moderately syrupy texture. But the key thing seems to be the flesh. It's described as really soft and tender, easy to chew.
Oh, that sounds nice. The Area Export article also said they start out red and look a bit like Mazafati dates.
Yeah, initially red. And there's a resemblance to Masfati in shape. That's right. And they seem pretty important commercially for export.
Makes sense if they're good quality.
Exactly. They're a big deal for Iran, both selling them at home and sending them overseas. Apparently, you might also see them called Kalite or Kali or Karite.
Oh, good to know. Different names for the same thing.
Pretty much, yeah. So keep an eye out for those two.
Okay. So if I had one in my hand, what would I be looking at, appearance-wise?
Probably oval-shaped,
Mm.
a little bit shiny, size-wise maybe 2 to 4 centimeters,
Yeah.
something like that, and about 10 grams each on average.
Right.
The source really talks up the balanced, syrupy feel and, just a straightforward sweet taste.
Gotcha. It also mentions them having a warm nature. What's that about? Is that like a temperature thing?
No, not really temperature. It's more from traditional food classifications, like in traditional
Okay.
medicine.
Uh-huh.
Foods are sometimes seen as having warm or cool effects on the body. Sort of an energetic quality idea. Yeah, but then technically they're classed as semi-moist states.
Hmm.
Their actual water content is between, let's see, 13 and 23%.
So that warm nature is more traditional, less about the physical moisture.
Exactly. The moisture percentage puts them in a specific category for like texture and how they keep.
Right. Okay, so we know what they are now. Where exactly do they grow? Iran, you said?
Yeah, Iran is the main place, specifically Jarrah County. That's in Kerman Province.
Kerman Province, okay.
But they also grow them in other spots nearby, like Rudbar, Kanuj, Manushan, and Ambarabad. So it's kind of a regional specialty within Iran.
But clearly a popular one if the quality is high?
Seems that way, popular locally and internationally. The source says they're among Iran's top-selling dates.
Wow, okay. So a big player then.
Definitely sounds like it. That consistent quality seems key to their success.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk nutrition. The area export piece had a table, didn't it?
It did, yeah, for a 100-gram serving.
So what are the highlights? Calories.
Okay, calories are about 262 per 100 grams. Carbs are pretty high, 75 grams. Makes sense, they're dates.
Right. Lots of natural sugar in there, presumably.
Yeah, they don't list sugar specifically, but with 75 grams of carbs, it's definitely significant. But you've also got a good amount of fiber, 8 grams.
Oh, 8 grams, decent.
Yeah. And protein is around 2.5 grams, very low fat, only 0.4 grams, and hardly any sodium, just 2 milligrams.
Okay, so energy dense, good fiber, low fat. What about vitamins and minerals? Anything stand out?
Potassium is the big one here, 666 milligrams per 100 grams. That's quite a lot.
Wow, yeah.
Then you've got calcium, 39 milligrams, and iron at 1 milligram. It also mentions manganese and magnesium are in there, plus vitamins B and A, though that the exact amounts listed for those.
Still a pretty good mix of micronutrients.
Definitely. A nice little package.
And I guess these nutrients tie into the health benefits the article talks about. Like you mentioned potassium for heart health.
Exactly. Potassium is well known for helping manage blood pressure. Then the calcium, and they mention vitamin K later in the benefits section. Those are key for bones.
Right.
And iron, well, that's crucial for energy, carrying oxygen, good for your skin and hair too, indirectly.
And the article even suggests that calorie count might be good for athletes.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Lots of natural carbs for quick energy, a sort of natural fuel source.
Okay, let's dig into those benefits then. The article lists quite a few. First off, just being a good source of minerals and nutrients for daily energy.
Yeah, that just comes straight from the profile we discussed. The fiber for steady energy release, potassium, calcium, iron, the vitamins, it all contributes to just, keeping you going.
Makes sense. Then it says they can help regulate cholesterol. How might that work?
Well, the source says it helps reduce bad cholesterol, but it doesn't detail the how. Generally, though, the fiber in dates especially soluble fiber
Yeah.
that can bind to cholesterol in your gut and sort of help remove it.
Yeah.
So while the article isn't specific, that's the likely mechanism, fiber doing its job.
Okay, interesting. It also suggests they might help with stress and anxiety, linking it to magnesium and vitamin B.
Right. Magnesium does have muscle relaxing properties, helps calm the nervous system. And B vitamins are really important for brain function, making neurotransmitters that affect mood.
So not a magic bullet, but they contribute.
Exactly. The nutrients are there, and they play those roles in the body. So including foods like Kalute dates in your diet could help support a more balanced nervous system.
Gotcha. And boosting energy comes up again. Carbs, calories, iron.
Yep, same story. Quick energy from the natural sugars and carbs, and the iron helping oxygen get around to prevent fatigue. It's like a natural energy bar almost.
Huh, yeah. And bone strength, calcium, and vitamin K again.
Right. Calcium's the building block,
Huh.
and vitamin K helps make sure the calcium goes where it's needed in the bones. So having both is beneficial for bone health over time. Now this one's interesting. Improved memory, brain growth support, enhanced intelligence from vitamin B and potassium. Seems like a big claim.
It is quite broad, yeah. B vitamins and potassium are essential for nerve function and brain energy, no doubt about that.
Mhm.
But attributing major cognitive boosts just to eating dates might be a stretch based on, broad scientific consensus. It's more about how these nutrients contribute to overall brain health as part of a balanced diet.
Okay, that's a fair point. Important context. Digestive health is next, linking back to that fiber.
Absolutely. Fiber is key for regularity, preventing constipation. Plus, it feeds the good bacteria in your gut, the microbiome.
Right, which we're learning is super important for everything.
Totally. Gut health is huge.
And finally, skin and hair care. Through iron and blood flow.
Yeah, the idea is that good blood flow, supported by adequate iron for hemoglobin, delivers nutrients to your skin and hair follicles. So healthy iron levels contribute to healthy-looking skin and hair. Makes sense. Okay, so lots of potential upsides. But we need balance, right? The article mentions some things to be careful about.
Yes, definitely. Moderation is the key word, like with that high potassium. While it's great, getting too much could potentially be an issue for heart, kidney, or liver function in some people.
Right. Good things in excess.
Exactly. It's always about balance.
Anything else?
Well, for people managing their weight, the calorie and sugar content is something to be mindful of. Dates are nutritious, but they do pack energy. Overdoing it could, work against weight goals.
Sure.
And like any food, there's always a small chance of allergies for some individuals, though nothing specific is flagged for Kalute dates here.
Okay, good points. Keep it balanced. Now, this is the part I find really useful, the comparison. How do Kalute dates measure up against others, like medjoules or pirams? The source had a table, right?
Yeah, it compared them to medjool, piram, mazafati, zahedi, and sayer dates.
Let's start with sweetness. Where do Kalute fit?
The table calls Kalute sweet,
Mmm.
which is interesting because piram, medjool, well, medjool isn't explicitly rated, but usually considered very sweet. Mazafati and sayer are all listed as very sweet.
Huh. And Zahedi?
Zahedi are listed as moderate sweetness. So Kalute seems to be like sweet, but maybe not intensely sweet compared to some others.
Okay. What about the actual flavor profile, beyond just sweet?
Kalute is just described as sweet. The others have more description, like piram is unique sweet, medjool has strong caramel notes.
Ooh, caramel.
Yeah, mazafati is rich, sweet, zahedi is sweet nutty, and sayer is very sweet mild. So Kalute sounds maybe simpler in flavor compared to those nuances.
Fascinating how different they can be. Calories. Kalute was 262 per 100 gram. How's that compare?
Let's see, piram is higher, 310 to 330. Mazafati is 282. Zahedi is similar, 270, 300. Sayer is actually a bit lower, 20109. No calorie count given for medjool in this table.
So Kalute is kind of in the middle, calorie-wise?
He's like, yeah, moderate.
And texture. We said Kalute was soft, semi-moist.
Right, compared to piram, which is semi-dry soft. Medjool is apparently softer than piram, moist.
Mm-hmm.
Mazafati is soft, juicy. Zahedi is firm, semi-dry, and sayer is semi-dry, smooth, soft.
Wow, lots of variations there. So Kalute sounds like a good middle ground, soft, but maybe not as sticky or juicy as a Mazafati.
That's how it sounds, yeah. Appealing if you want soft, but not, like, super wet.
Okay. Origin, we know Kalute is from Jiroft, Kerman in Iran. Where are the others from? Still mostly Iran?
Mostly, yeah. Piram is also Iran, Hyderabad, Hormozgan. Mazafati is Bam, Kerman, same province as Kalute, different area.
Interesting.
Sayer is Khuzestan, Iran. Zahedi is grown in Iran, but also Iraq and the U.S. And medjool has various origins, not just one place.
So Iran really is date central for many of these.
Definitely a major player.
Size-wise, Kalute was 2.4 centimeters, 10 grams. How does that stack up? Are they small?
Compared to some, yeah. Piram is similar length, but maybe heavier, 10-15 G. But medjool and mazafati are noticeably bigger, 3 to 5 centimeters, and weighing 20 to 30 grams each.
Whoa, double the weight or more.
Yeah. Zahidi are longer, 3.86 centimeters. Seher are 2.5, 4.8 centimeters. So Kalute definitely seems to be on the smaller, lighter end of the scale compared to those big ones like medjool.
Okay. And lastly, moisture content. Kalute was 23%.
Right. Piram is max 17%. Mazafati max 23%, same upper end as Kalute.
Okay.
Zahidi max 17%. Seher's 15-20%. Medjool moisture isn't listed here.
So Kalute has quite a wide moisture range potentially.
Yeah, spanning from relatively dry to quite moist within that semi-moist category.
This comparison is super helpful, and the article made that specific point comparing Kalute to Mazafati again, right? Similar look, but Kalute is firmer and lighter.
Exactly. It gives you a direct visual and textural reference point if you know Mazafati dates, which many people do.
Yeah, very useful. Okay, so wrapping up that section. If someone's listening and thinking, I want to try these Kalute dates, does the source say where to get them?
Well, unsurprisingly, the source article is from ariaexport, and they position themselves as a supplier.
Ah, makes sense.
Yeah, they talk about their experience exporting Kalute dates from Iran, offering wholesale prices, shipping worldwide, that sort of thing. So they present themselves as a direct option.
Got it. Okay, well, this has been genuinely really informative, a proper deep dive into Kalute dates.
It's quite a bit of detail for one type of date.
It really is. We've gone from their home in Iran, that semi-moist texture, the whole nutritional breakdown, those potential benefits, the things to watch out for.
And how they compare to the others on the shelf.
Exactly. It's amazing how much variety there is, isn't it? Even within just dates.
It really is. Every type has its own little niche, its own best use.
So for everyone listening, as you're thinking about these Kalute dates, maybe that moderate sweetness appeals or the soft texture or the nutritional profile, it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What about those other Iranian dates we mentioned, like Piraram or Zahedi? Could they be interesting to try too? It really highlights the diversity out there, even in seemingly simple foods. Makes you think. What other interesting fruit varieties are hiding in plain sight, just waiting for a closer look?